I never thought a single DM would change my life. It was a Thursday afternoon. I was lying on my couch, scrolling through Instagram, half watching some reality show in the background. My phone buzzed, not unusual. I get weird messages all the time. But this one was different. Your energy is captivating. I represent a private family in the Emirates. We'd like to fly you to Dubai, all expenses paid. For a private cultural experience. My first instinct? Scam. My second? I clicked the profile. Verified. Hundreds of posts. Luxury cars, yachts, tigers on leashes, gross, dinners with celebrities I follow. It felt like the Instagram version of Aladdin on steroids. I didn't respond at first. But 2 hours later, I got another message, this time more formal, with a personal assistant's contact and flight info waiting to be confirmed. I showed it to my best friend, Kayla. She said, "Girl. It's either a fairy tale or a Netflix doc. And you love both." I laughed. But the truth? I just lost my modeling contract. I was living on savings and ramen. I needed something to happen. So I said yes. They booked me first class from LAX. The moment I stepped onto the plane, everything felt surreal. Champagne. Silk slippers. A flight attendant who knew my name. When I landed in Dubai, a man in a black suit held a sign, "Miss Emerson." He handed me an iced latte the way someone might hand a queen her crown. They took my phone when we arrived at the estate. Not the hotel. The estate. High walls. Golden gates. A courtyard with live peacocks. A fountain taller than my apartment building. I asked why they took my phone. Privacy, they said. For your safety. That was the first red flag. I just didn't see it yet. Inside, everything was dripping. Gold. Marble. Silence. I was escorted to a room the size of a movie theater, with its own pool, a wall of designer clothes, and a tray of macaroons shaped like roses. That night, I met him. Sheikh Khalid. Tall. Handsome in that way that made you want to kneel for no reason. Impeccably dressed, but barefoot. His presence was a force. He kissed my hand. Said my name like it was poetry. Told me I was a rare bloom, and that my photos didn't do my aura justice. I knew I was being love-bombed. But it didn't feel fake. It felt intoxicating. For the next 72 hours, I lived a dream. Candlelit dinners on private rooftops. Midnight boat rides along the marina. Dresses sent to my room with handwritten notes like, "Wear this tonight. The moon deserves to see you in red." He told me I was different. That the other women didn't get it. He said he was searching for someone worthy to be by his side. That I was it. But then, on day 4, I saw her. I was walking through the garden when I spotted another girl, blonde, tall, maybe Scandinavian, sitting by the pool. Alone. Wearing a robe identical to mine. She looked up. We locked eyes. And for a split second, we both knew. We weren't alone. She said it like we were meeting at a yoga retreat. Like this was all normal. "So, you're new here too?" I stood there, robe half open, holding a glass of some expensive juice I didn't ask for, heart slamming against my ribs. I hadn't seen anyone else since I arrived. Not one woman. Not a single clue that this dream I was living was being lived by anyone else. I thought. I was the only guest, I said carefully. She tilted her head and smiled. But her eyes weren't smiling. "Oh honey. That's what they tell all of us." Her name was Isla. From Oslo. 26, model turned entrepreneur turned kept woman. She'd been here for 2 weeks. He made me think I was special, too, she said, lounging in a pool chair. Told me I was unlike the others. the only one who truly understood his spirit. She mimicked his voice with terrifying accuracy. My stomach flipped. She leaned forward and said, "How many girls do you think wear that red dress?" I counted 5 in the closet. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every word he'd said replayed in my head, only now it felt pre-written. Scripted. Rehearsed. I started noticing things. The same rose tray in another hallway. A personal note written on generic stationery. The smell of another woman's perfume on the pillow in the lounge. I wasn't invited into a fantasy. I was cast into a production. On day 5, I tried to leave the estate. I told the staff I needed a walk, fresh air. They smiled. Of course. Then locked the gate behind me. And posted 2 men at the end of the driveway. I found Isla again. This time in a room I hadn't seen before. It looked like a spa. Candles. Incense. But the windows were sealed shut. She told me about the others. There were 8 of us last month, she whispered. One night, 2 girls were gone. No explanation. No goodbye. Just, gone. I asked if she tried to leave. She said yes. And when she did, her passport disappeared. Mine was still in my suitcase, right? I ran back to my room. Flipped open the closet. Pulled the drawer. Gone. That night, Khalid came to my room. Smiling. Sweet. Carrying flowers dipped in gold. He said he had a surprise for me. We're going to the desert tomorrow, he whispered. A private camp. Just us. No cameras. No distractions. But something in his smile had changed. It felt possessive. Like he didn't see me anymore. Just his property. At 3 a.m., I went to Isla's room. She wasn't there. But on her bed was a note. One word. Run. The moment I saw the note, something inside me cracked. There was no plan. No backup. No second chances. I had to move. Now. I grabbed my bag, empty except for a silk robe and 2 lipsticks, and stuffed it with anything useful, a bottle of water, some cash I'd hidden in a shoe, a charger, although my phone was still locked away somewhere. I slipped through the hallway barefoot. Every marble tile echoed louder than gunshots in my ears. The guards at the front gate would see me if I tried to walk out. There had to be another way. The service corridors. I remembered seeing a maid disappear behind a panel by the kitchen. Maybe there was an exit for staff. Heart hammering, I crept toward it. Every shadow looked like a hand reaching for me. Every step felt like dragging chains. When I found the panel, it wasn't even locked. Just a gentle push, and it opened into a narrow, dark hallway. Smelled like detergent and sweat. I kept moving, following instinct more than memory. Until I wasn't alone. A shadow ahead. Female. I froze. Then she turned. It was Layla. Another girl. One I had barely spoken to, soft-spoken, always with her head down, never making eye contact. She saw me, her eyes wide with panic. You too? I whispered. She nodded. Clutched her bag tighter. We moved together. No words. Just terror and urgency stitching us into a silent pact. We found the back exit. A heavy metal door chained but not locked. I pushed. It groaned. We winced. Freedom, almost tangible, kissed my face as the cool night air rushed in. But before we could step outside. Where do you think you're going? A voice. Deep. Accented. One of the guards. We didn't wait. We ran. Across the back courtyard. Through hedges that ripped my robe. Across gravel that sliced my feet. Lights exploded behind us. Shouts. Running footsteps. They were chasing us. Layla grabbed my hand. Come. I know a way. We veered right, around the back of the estate. Past garages filled with Lamborghinis and Rolls-Royces. Toward a low fence, barely 6 feet, compared to the 20-foot walls at the front. She boosted me up first. I climbed like my life depended on it, because it did. She followed. As we dropped to the sand on the other side, headlights flared up behind us. A black SUV peeled around the estate, coming fast. We sprinted into the dunes, lungs burning, feet bleeding, tears slicing hot trails down my face. We ran until the lights disappeared. Until the only sound was the wind screaming across the desert. Until my legs collapsed and I hit the sand, gasping. Layla dropped beside me. We have to keep moving, she whispered. They won't stop. How do you know? I asked between sobs. She looked at me, her face suddenly colder. Because I helped bring you here. I stared at her, throat burning from the sand, heart punching the inside of my chest. You, what? Layla didn't flinch. Didn't look away. I was paid to recruit you, she said simply. Like she was telling me the time. But I didn't know how bad it really was. I couldn't breathe. All the questions slammed into me at once. Why? How? Since when? She sat down next to me, hugging her knees. They promised me freedom. Said if I helped bring new girls, I'd be released after 6 months. Her voice cracked then, barely a whisper. It's been 2 years. The desert swallowed her words. Silence so heavy it could break bone. I looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time. And I realized. She wasn't the enemy. She was another prisoner. Maybe not innocent. But not free either. Layla reached into her robe and pulled out a phone. Not a shiny iPhone. A battered Nokia burner. They don't know I kept it, she said. No GPS. No camera. Just calls. She handed it to me. There's a man. His name is Amir. He used to work for them. He helps girls escape. But we have to find a signal. I clutched the phone like it was oxygen. But why would you help me? I asked. Her eyes glittered in the moonlight. Because if they catch me, they'll kill me anyway. And if they catch you, they'll make you disappear so clean the world won't even remember your name. We moved. Across the dunes, our bodies trembling, mouths dry. No roads. No lights. Only sand and stars. Hours blurred into each other. Every noise felt like it carried knives. Every shadow twisted into a threat. Finally, we found a highway. Empty. Silent. But it was hope. Layla stood on the shoulder, holding the phone up high, praying for a signal. I stood beside her, every muscle coiled, ready to run again if headlights appeared. 1 bar. 2. She dialed a number from memory. It rang. And rang. And rang. A voice answered. Male. Low. Sharp. Where are you? Layla rattled off coordinates I didn't understand. A language I didn't speak. Then she turned to me. He's sending a car. Relief crashed into me so hard I almost collapsed. But then. A sound behind us. An engine. Not from the highway. From the dunes. 2 black SUVs cresting the hill like predators. Headlights slicing the darkness. Coming straight for us. Layla grabbed my arm. Run. We sprinted along the road. The SUVs roared closer, tires spraying sand like bullets. My lungs burned. My legs screamed. Then, a third vehicle. From the opposite direction. Small. White. Fast. It skidded to a stop in front of us. A man leaned out. Get in, he barked. I didn't think. I just threw myself into the back seat. Layla dove in after me. The driver hit the gas so hard I slammed against the seat. Bullets tore through the night behind us. One hit the rear window. It spider-webbed, but didn't shatter. We were moving. Fast. Alive. For now. I looked at Layla. She looked at me. And in that moment, there were no lies between us. Only survival. Only the truth that behind every gilded door, there's a price. And we were still paying. The car sped through the desert like a bullet. Sand whipped against the windows. The cracked glass behind me trembled with every bump. Layla clutched the door handle like it was her lifeline. I stared at the driver. He wasn't what I expected. Young. Maybe early 30s. Scar running down his jawline. Eyes that didn't flinch, not even when another bullet shattered the side mirror. He drove like someone who had nothing to lose. "Where are you taking us?" I shouted over the engine's roar. He didn't answer at first. Just pressed harder on the gas. "Finally," he said, "somewhere they can't find you." We drove for what felt like hours. Off-road. Through abandoned villages. Past construction sites that looked more like ghost towns. Finally, we pulled into a crumbling building that looked like it had survived a war. The car screeched to a halt. The man jumped out and opened the door for us. "Move," he barked. Not exactly comforting. Inside, the building was empty except for a flickering light and a metal door bolted shut. He keyed in a code. The door swung open. A staircase leading down. Go. Every instinct screamed at me to turn back. But Layla went first. And I wasn't about to be left alone in the dark. The stairs led to a basement, surprisingly clean compared to the wreck above. Cots. Water jugs. A few chairs. A portable generator humming in the corner. It was a safe house. At least, it looked like one. The man locked the door behind us and tossed a bag onto the table. Food. Water. Burner phones. I stepped forward. "Who are you?" He smirked without humor. "Name's Amir. Used to work for Khalid." Before I realized what he really was. His voice dripped with contempt. "I get girls out when I can. Not all of them. Some don't make it." I swallowed hard. "Why risk it?" I asked. His face hardened. "Because no one else will. Because once, I was the reason one of them didn't escape." A shadow crossed his features. And for the first time, I realized. He wasn't saving us to be a hero. He was saving us to atone. That night, I sat on the cot, staring at the cracked ceiling. I should have felt safe. Instead, I felt like prey hiding from a bigger predator. Around 2 a.m., Layla shook me awake. Her face pale. Eyes wide. "He's making a call," she whispered. I sat up, heart pounding. We crept toward the door. Listened. Amir's voice, low and urgent. "Yes. 2 of them. Alive. Price doubled. I want out after this." My blood turned to ice. He wasn't saving us. He was selling us. I grabbed Layla's hand. We had one choice. Escape again. Or be delivered like packages to whoever was paying the highest price. I looked at her. "Ready?" I whispered. She nodded. Her face set. We were done trusting anyone but ourselves. Outside the window, the desert stretched endless and black. But somewhere out there was freedom. And we were going to find it. Or die trying. We moved fast. No shoes. No plan. No backup. Just instinct. Fear. And the knowledge that Amir, our savior, was a broker. He'd saved us, to resell us. Ironic, right? That the only thing more dangerous than the monster was the man who pretended to slay him. We climbed out the basement window just before dawn. Layla found a rusted bike behind the building. She pushed. I ran beside her, bloody feet scraping sand and concrete. We made it to a roadside gas station just as the sun cracked over the dunes. Inside, a boy behind the counter watched us like we were hallucinations. "Help," I rasped. "Police. Now." By noon, we were sitting in an air-conditioned room with cold water, clean clothes, and a translator. We told them everything. The estate. The locked gates. The missing girls. The fake names. The burner phones. The note from Isla, run. The police nodded. Took notes. Smiled. And then they asked for our passports. We had none. Not anymore. And just like that, their tone changed. Polite smiles became formal stares. "We will investigate," they said. But nothing would happen. Because the man we ran from, Sheikh Khalid Al-Fahim, wasn't just rich. He was protected. By power. By politics. By secrets no one wanted to see. 3 days later, we were quietly deported. No charges. No media. Just a one-way flight with no luggage, no phone, and one warning. You never came here. And if you talk, you'll never leave anywhere again. But I did talk. I wrote it all down. Every moment. Every lie. Every scream in the desert. I sent it to every journalist who still had a soul. And one of them, a woman in London, believed me. Today, the story's out. Anonymous source. Changed names. But the palace? The pattern? The girls? Very real. It's being investigated. Or so they say. But I don't wait for justice anymore. Because justice didn't save me. I did. I live in Lisbon now. Small apartment. No staff. No gold. But when I sleep free. Layla's here too. We don't talk about the estate. But sometimes, we sit on the rooftop and look at the stars. And we both wonder the same thing. Did anyone else get out? Because behind closed doors, there's always another girl. Another promise. Another gilded lie.